Hey guys, it is MissSimReno. If you are returning to the channel, welcome back. And if you're brand new, I am very excited that you decided to join me here today for another speed build. And we are in Sulani. I clearly have summer on the brain. It is still summer here. At least to my knowledge, I don't go outside a lot, so who knows? But I am not the biggest fan of summer, and yet when I am in The Sims, I am being drawn to Sulani, and houses like this make me want to live on a beach. I should probably clarify too. I don't like summer because it's really hot. However, I do really like the beach and I do really love this world. So I am building a home and I'm calling this the Weathered Beach House because one, I couldn't come up with a better name. And two, it's because basically like the outside of the structure is pretty weathered, as are the floorboards inside, and I think it's technically like thatch wallpaper is what it is. I used the one that we got with Island Living and I thought it was really, really pretty. But the shape of the structure is actually pretty much almost together at this point. It honestly really is just a bunch of boxes pushed together, which I don't like admitting, but I thought it was kind of a little bit of a different design for me. There's a lot of different windows and the layout of this build is actually pretty different from a lot of the things that I've built in the past, so hopefully you guys do enjoy it. But as you can see, I'm creating a small balcony here on the second floor, and then I end up moving on to the landscaping, which is usually my favorite part of building in Sulani. I absolutely love all of the plants, and I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I think landscaping in Sulani is probably one of the easier places for me to landscape. It comes together really, really quickly. It seems very straightforward. Like you can use a lot of those low-lying plants and some of the flowers and then just plop trees randomly places and everything ends up looking really nicely. So if you are doubting yourself in actually landscaping in Sulani, my advice is just go with what you think looks nice because it seems to pull together really nicely in the end for a lot of folks, myself included. At least I think it looks nice. So as you can see, I am fleshing out all of the landscaping now. I used a lot of those low-lying flowers and plants. I used a couple of the different trees that we got with this pack, and I popped in a couple of random rocks in different places. And now I don't remember if this was a free patch or something like that, but previously we didn't have the black swatch of rocks. I remember having to go into the debug menu for Island Living to pull out rocks that kind of sort of matched the world around it. I don't remember if we've always had those, but if we had, please let me know because honestly, I kind of lose track of either like the free updates or stuff like that. But yeah, I created a little kind of nook over there with a little bit of shade, some lounge chairs, and then I end up loosely fencing in this property. Nothing crazy, just some fencing in the front here because there really is no backyard. This lot is fairly small, to be honest. This is the Tangled Flat lot, I believe it is. So this one doesn't have direct like beach access in the sense of it's not actually on the water, but your Sims actually can just go ahead and cross the street and jump into the water, which is really nice. It's kind of this little lagoon area, which is probably one of my favorite spots in Sulani as is. And I used a couple of these outdoor like tiki lights, and then I ended up going on to the interior. And what you see here, the floor plan stays, but a lot of like the decorations I first tried out, I ended up scrapping entirely, but I wanted to show the process. I wanted to show that there are definitely times where I go through, I decorate like a room or two, and then I tear it apart because it happens to the best of us. If you guys ever feel as though like you can't come up with something, same. I also feel that way sometimes. But this little area ends up being the dining section, which I thought was so nice. It gets so much sunlight because of all of those windows. And I end up actually trying out a couple of different tables, a couple of different chairs. And I don't know what it is, but for me, the very, very light wood swatch for this flooring just left me so uneasy. Like it was almost too much. It was overpowering for me. And yet some people feel, or most likely feel, as though that's actually very soothing and very, what am I trying to say? I don't know. It's very calming at the same time. Like these blues and like the very soft wood tones are very relaxing. However, for me, I just couldn't find the combination of items with this color palette at first. So I end up placing this little console table here with a painting, maybe trying to pull out a plant or two, and then I just end up stripping it entirely and starting from scratch. So I used these weathered floorboards and, like I said, the thatch wallpaper that came with this pack, and I thought that this combo allowed for a lot more flexibility in my personal decorating style, so I was really excited about it. I end up grabbing this round table from Jungle Adventure and placing these really cute chairs that we got with cats and dogs. They're probably some of my favorite chairs, and I just used them in a build at the beginning of the week as well. I think in the Yuma Heights mansion, I used these chairs in their black swatch. So as you can see, they're really versatile. And I just used these curtains from Eco Lifestyle as well as the lamp from Eco Lifestyle, which I hadn't really used too much before. I thought it fit in perfectly for this world and this kind of look. I create a small seating area over here where I end up having these two chairs and just a side table. But I also put the little blanket slash pillow basket on top of one of those chairs. It looks a little bit awkward because one of the blankets is definitely just like hanging off the chair a little bit. Looks a little weird. Pretty sure that blanket basket was meant to be placed on the floor, but I really liked how it looked, so hopefully you guys do too. And as you can see, I used the half walls to kind of separate that space a little bit and just hung some of the Island Living curtains to add a little bit of pizzazz to it, I suppose you could say. And then I move on to the kitchen, where I even used the countertops that came with Island Living. I do not use these often just because they're pretty modern looking in my opinion, and that's typically not my style. But since we don't have matching cabinets for these, cough cough, I just used this lighter wood swatch from the Jungle Adventure cabinets, and I thought it actually worked nicely because it kind of matches the floorboards a little bit more. So there's a couple of different wood tones that I end up mixing here, and I wanted to bring more pops of color into the rest of this build, so I added the orange curtains, and I add like the tropical fruit bowl, which is very, very colorful, and just a couple of other like random clutter items throughout the kitchen to bring pops of color. I also include the little flip-flop slash sandal lights. Actually, what do you guys call those? You'll see them when I pull them out. Do you call them flip-flops? Do you call them sandals? Because to me, sandals actually have like straps. That's my understanding. Like sandals have straps and they are actually secure to your foot, whereas flip-flops are those things there. I think those are flip-flops. What do you guys think? This is a debate that needs to be decided on. Like there needs to be a winner here and I need to know which one it is. But as you can see, I'm just cluttering up the kitchen now. I gave them an incense holder and a little like pitcher. I think that came with the backyard stuff. I remember this time. And that one is usable so you can pour like lemonade and stuff like that if you have guests, which I thought was a nice little added element to this kitchen and really just this family. And I was thinking that this family is just a couple of parents and their one child who is actually a little girl. And I was thinking that the parents are photographers, which you guys will actually see when we get upstairs to their bedroom. I definitely personalize it and make it kind of like their little office space, and not really a studio, but really just their office space for like editing and stuff like that. And then I just add a mirror and a little console table in the front entryway. And I actually put one of the wall decorations that we got with Island Living as well. It's kind of like this, I don't know, it's a face. I don't really know how to describe it, but it's basically just like this face. And I thought it really fit into this kind of build because I was thinking that this family is native to Sulani. They just have this like older weathered house, but they've filled it with some modern amenities, right? It's more of a modern home compared to, you know, let's say like an island shack or something like that, right? But I also add a couple of these prints that are unlocked with the BB Show Hidden Objects sheet. So like I said, I think the parents are photographers. Maybe one of them is like an underwater photographer, whereas the other one is more of a like portrait photographer. I haven't really played around with that too much either, but I definitely know they're into photography. That's pretty much all I've decided on. And then I end up working on the little living space. So right here in the hub of everything is the living space. I was going to separate the stairs a little bit with a wall, but it just looked way too closed off and constricted, and I really didn't like it. So I end up putting a big coffee table in the middle here and using these couches from Eco Lifestyle that I absolutely adore. And even though I don't do it on camera, I place a couple of plants here, but I also add a stack of books, and I put the old like Sims 1 version antenna TV on top of those books as well. So they're not so hyper focused on being inside and watching TV. They're typically outside photographing and spending time with family. And just enjoying the outdoors all together. So I didn't think they needed like this big fancy TV. I think they just had like this older set that maybe their parents passed on to them or something. And then I take these storage boxes from Eco Lifestyle and put them under the stairs just to kind of add a little bit of clutter. It was an area that I wanted to do something with, but I didn't really know what. And now they have a half bathroom downstairs as well as a full bathroom upstairs. So technically I'm calling it a 2-bath, but I think if we're really coming down to it, it would be what, a 1 3/4 bath? No, technically 3/4 is like just a shower, not the shower tub combo, right? So yeah, it actually is 1.5 bath technically, but I can't indicate that on the gallery, so I'm sorry. But now I work on the parents' bedroom, which I thought was really nice. It was a little uncomfortable. It took a little bit of time for me to really find the look I was going for, especially with those awkward tiny little windows that are actually on the right side of the bedroom when you first walk in. But I used this bed that I believe came with a base game update, you know, years and years ago at this point. And I give them a cool little mirror in the corner, and they have both of those plants. Like that plant I put in both of the corners, I should say. It's the same plant. I swap out the lamps on their little end tables. They end up having a dresser, and then I was like, you know what? This is where I made the decision that they were going to be photographers, because I was looking at various clutter items and I was like, well, how do I just like not overuse the same clutter? Because I tend to do it a lot, and I apologize if it gets a little repetitive, but there's only so much that I can really create a backstory to sometimes, if that makes sense. So I'm working out the dresser. I put a few more photos here. Of course, you know, they're an island family, so I figured these photos were appropriate whether or not they took them. But that's when I was like, you know what, they need more skill building items. Like, what can I place here? So I end up grabbing a guitar first and I put it downstairs. Maybe 1 or 2 of them fiddle with it, who knows? And that's when I pulled out the tripod and the camera. And I was like, you know what? They're going to be photographers, and I'm going to create a tiny little studio for them. So I used this little storage shelf that comes with the Mosquito stuff pack, which I thought was perfect. I don't think I really ever used it before, so it was actually nice to use that item and stack a couple of clutter items on top of it, including that open notebook, like a stack of files and a camera. And then I add 2 desks on this wall, which fit perfectly. I was so relieved. I give them a couple of like wicker chairs, and one desk has a computer with TVs, but I'm imagining there are multiple monitors, because if you are editing photos, you might want a monitor or 2 to be working off of. So I thought that was kind of a nice idea. They also have this corkboard and like a file folder, because I think this is their business. So they kind of keep their clients organized and different like photo contracts and stuff like that. And then they have the surfboards just for decoration. And then they also have this little calendar board that came with Discovery University. And I just put a lamp and a couple of clutter items on top of this desk, so it's still open. And let's say that their daughter wanted to come in there while they were editing, but she wanted to do her homework with them. She could actually do her homework at that desk because it is open for her to do that. So I thought it was kind of nice. It was a little bit of a mixed up setup, but in the end it turned out, I think, pretty nice. So I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did. And I also give them a little ottoman and a bench there. And I did play test it. Your Sims can get through into the bedroom, no problem. They can get to both sides of the bed, which was a huge relief because I really didn't want to move that bench that's like right in the doorway. I really liked it. And in this hallway, I just add a plant on an end table and a mirror at the top of the stairs. I also finished placing some of the windows because I did hold off just to make sure that I could come up with a floor plan that really worked for the shape of the house. And I ended up moving on to the bathroom, where they do just have the toilet and the shower in the sink. I didn't give them a shower tub combo, but you certainly could if you wanted to. For example, if you had a family move in here that had a toddler and you needed to make sure that you could bathe said toddler, then you would probably want to do a shower tub combo compared to just the shower. So I wanted to make it flexible, even though I was picturing just a family with a child sim. I wanted to give you guys that flexibility without too much altering. However, the bedroom would probably have to be altered. So this is their daughter's bedroom, and I think that she is a very creative sim, just like her parents. Whether or not she ends up being a photographer, who knows? But I think right now she's just really into drawing and cuddling. She's into drawing and crafting is what I meant to say. She's probably into cuddling too. Who doesn't love cuddling? But I think she's very creative, and she also likes making like paper mache stuff. So I end up giving her the school project that is the medieval castle, I think. So technically, is that like paper mache maybe? it's some kind of crafting project, so I thought it fit in. Like maybe she had made it for school or something like that, right? And then she actually has one of the little like llama knitted plant things, which I thought was cute. And she has a creativity table and a couple of toys. I also gave her a rocking chair because I still think that she's pretty young. Even though she's a child sim, I think that she's still young enough that maybe her mom like reads her stories before bed, which I really liked that idea. So mom sits in the rocking chair and like reads her to sleep still. And I thought that that was sweet. And then I just add a couple of more decorations in her room because it is a bit of an awkward shape, but I wanted her to have like her own little bookcase on the floor there. And then I add like a teddy bear and a couple of more toys that she could actually play with as a kid, which I thought was really nice. And then I end up actually moving on to the one and only balcony, which happens to be off the daughter's room, and I place a lounge chair and a couple of plants. But that is pretty much it for the build. I hope you guys did enjoy this. I can't wait to hear your thoughts, and I will catch you next time I post a video, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye!
Tell me what you're thinking. One sentence is too much for your tangled mind. Don't know what's worse, the waiting or the frustration. It's hard to care about you. I watch you fall apart, like pouring water over your fading spark. Isn't it enough already? Isn't it enough now, baby? Isn't it enough, 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 enough? We keep on riding on the freeway, keep pretending that it's pretense. Sinking down low, the further we go, the better it feels. We keep on driving like there's no end, keep on wishing for a better day. Sinking down low, the further we go, the better it feels, the better it feels, yeah, yeah. You don't ever wanna tell me what you're feeling. One word out of your mouth, it's like starting a fire. Don't know what's worse, the pain or the hesitation. It's hard to make it through. I watch you fall apart, like pouring water over your fading spark. Isn't it enough already? Isn't it enough now, baby? Isn't it enough, 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 enough? We keep on riding on the freeway, keep pretending that it's pretense. Sinking down low, the further we go, the better it feels. We keep on driving like there's no end, keep on wishing for a better day. Sinking down low, the further we go, the